conditionals. We saw the booleans, the comparison operators, the input statements, arithmetic operators, the randoms, and all about the basics. So we'll be completing up this today. Okay, so that we can straight away go to the data science. So moving on farther than the
So,
comparison.
just a minute. Sorry to interrupt. Right, two things I just need to discuss right now.
Yeah.
Okay, one thing. We're just trying to do some data extraction using the strings. Okay, just use the websites to get the data. So there is a one manipulation what I am getting here.
Mm-hmm.
I just share you a code. Can you help me out on it?
Uh, yeah, you do one thing. You share that with me in the WhatsApp. Okay,
Box is it
I'll
possible?
I'll give you the answers there. Okay.
Yeah, sure. So do I share it on the chat right now, or I just provide you on that Telegram link for the WhatsApp link you have provided me?
Yeah, you can go. You can write in that WhatsApp group. I can see there.
Okay, all fine. One more thing. Can
Mm-hmm.
you please explain the calendar thing again?
Yeah, sure,
Okay,
sure, sure.
okay. But I think it.
All right, sure. So we'll explore that calendar one. All right. So for the calendar, the important thing is to first of all import the calendar. Hmm. This is the very important thing, the very first thing. Okay. Now, uh, questions come. Questions come like yes, she was talking something there. All right. So questions comes like print a calendar of a year or print a calendar of a month. So for a month, you write it as calendar, and then from the calendar, you bring a calendar of a month. Suppose if you want to take a calendar for a month, so calendar dot month, and then you write your year, right? Let's say it's for 2020, and uh, let's even say this for 2040, and yeah, for the month. Let's say it is for December or any month, right? For month, you'll be going on with the mathematical or the numbering you can say on, right? So for one, it will be January 1, February 2, like that, December 12. And like there, you can give, okay, just apply print over there. That will give much good print. So this is December 2040 calendar. But if you want to print a calendar of a whole year, so in that case, you would write it as print, then the calendar of a whole year. So let's say this is for exactly 2040. We'll run this and we'll be getting the things.
All fine, fine.
Okay,
Okay.
right. And there can be more questions like if you only want a leap year, so you can even check whether it is a leap year. If you want an HTML calendar, so in that case you will have to write from the calendar you want to import what is it, HTML, yeah. So HTML calendar, C is capital, like this. So you can import HTML calendar, then let's say this is HTML calendar function, and let's say this is, so you have to write a particular format. So let's say if you are going for a format of a month, and let's say this is for 2020 and 6, right? And let's just print this A. So we'll be getting an HTML format. So if we just take this and apply anywhere or embed this code anywhere on the like an HTML document, then we'll be getting a calendar with 2026, right? That is 2020 and 6.
And that will be self-arranged.
Yeah, and that would be like an HTML one. So exactly like this, you'll be getting a calendar, like in an HTML format. Okay, so if you just embed it somewhere else, anywhere, so you'll be getting it like that. So several things are there with you can work with a calendar. You can get a text calendar. You can even get a HTML calendar, a PDF type of things, a calendar object, and like all. Okay, fine. So we have seen up to the comparison operators. All right. So let's start up with our next one. So we even have membership operators. So membership operators is something like when you are a member of your family, let's say, right? So how we say that, is this guy is a member of this family or not, like that, right? So let's say if we are having some x, that is some list of numbers. Let's say this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So these are actually even numbers, right? And if I say y is equals to 30, right? Y is equals to 30. So if I say y in x, that is I want to see whether this 30 lies in this x or not, right? So it is not lying in this x, so obviously you'll be getting some false results. Okay. But in case like, okay, let me just close this. So if in the case, right, there is 30 present, or let's say if I write y is not, y it is there. Yeah, y is not in x. In that case, the statement is correct, right? Because y is not exactly in the x. But you can say this 2 in x. That will give correct result. Okay. So if something is there, we check it by in and not in, and that is a membership operator. So logical, I think logical we have discussed. No. So logical is like when you get some categorical values, right? And even when you let's say when you go to write up any statements or any conditions, there you use this logical statements, logical operators basically. So these are of three kind. There is some and, there is or and not. Okay. Apart from this not, and or are boolean operators also. Why? Because they operate with two of the values, right? They operate with two of the values even at a time, or more than two values at a time. Okay, that is how. Let's say always for true we say 1. Okay, and always for false we say 0. Let's say if I write true and true, right? So you are using some statements and you are applying true and true, so obviously you'll be getting true results. Similarly, if I write 1 and 0, right, that is true and false, right? So there will be getting false. Okay, true and false
Then,
leads to false. If I say
yeah.
true and false, so that is false exactly. So 1 and 0 is 0. Similarly, let's just write it 1 and 1, 1 and 0, 0 and 1, and even 0 and 0, right? Just copy this all. Okay, so what will be the outcome? That is only in the first case we are getting 1. Why? Because when you apply and, so only when you have all the conditions true, then only you are getting to find some true results or getting some correct results. Otherwise, every time it will be false. But in case of or, these things are reversed, right? Just like only when you have all the conditions wrong, then only you'll be getting a false results. Otherwise, every condition would be correct. Okay, so that is in the true, like in the and in the not. Sorry, or. Similarly, there is something not, which is exactly you can say a complement, right? Let's say if it is not of one, that is not of true, so it will be false. But if it is not of false, then it will be true, right? So that is if you write not of 1 and or let's say not of 1. So that is, or let's say not of true. So not of true is exactly false, and then not of false is true. That is the outcome you'll be getting. So these are some of the common operators we use, right? I think just jump into the string methods. All right, cool. So what are the methods in the string we are having? Let's say like you are having a sentence, right? And you want this first S to be like capital. What can you do? You can use this capitalize. And since this is particular one word, we can even use title, right? If you remember the things, we can even use this title, right? But only for one word. Why? Because what title and what capitalize does is capitalize will be making your first letter uppercase, first letter in the uppercase of the whole statement, right? But when it comes to the title, right? In the title, what happens? Every word first letter will be capitalized. All right. The difference is like, let's say AI is or ML is the domain of AI. This is the statement, let's say, and I'm using title. Let's say this is equals to S, and I'm saying S dot title. That is, every first letter of the word will be capitalized. But if I say S dot capitalize, there only the first one will be capitalized and rest will be remained as the same as it was. Right? Only the first will be the capital one, and the rest will be the lower cases. All right. Then we have something as if I say swap case. So swap case will change the cases. That is, upper will be in the lower and lower will be in the upper. That is how very easy. And if we just split up the terms as particular to, let's say, mm, what is there? Okay, let's just say that we are splitting up the term by is. So you can see is has been vanished off, and from the is there we have two parts of the sentence and some kind of a list, right? So we are having ML and we are having the domain of AI apart from is. So if we just split any sentence with some respect to strings, in that case, the respective string will be vanished off, and then you will be getting a splitted version from the left side and the right side of that particular string. Okay. So similarly, there are a lot of methods that say this is to be uh, index. So
Just a
if
minute, just sorry to
yeah,
are you listening?
mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what to know in S dot swap case, right? It is by using this code, it will self-identify it from the starting and from the end. The wordings from the start and from the end, it won't need to be capitalized. Only the remaining words will be capitalized. Is it like this?
Okay, you want only the remaining words to you want only a particular word to
No,
be.
no, no.
Mhm.
Of this code. I'm asking about this code S
Okay,
dot
in
swap
that
case,
case,
right?
every from the starting to the ending, whatever there it is, it will be swapped on. Like if you see of the things, this S, that is ML is the domain of AI. Okay, and we have swapped it. So you can see the capital has been become like lower, and the lower is in the capital cases.
Okay, it is starting from that.
Yeah, like it is from the S, right? And we are just doing with S dot swap case. Yeah, don't go with this one because these are separate operations. The main thing is this S, and we are changing everything in this S. Okay, so our ML is
Got
in the
it.
capital, our AI is in the capital, and we are getting such things for AI small, where it is, yeah. So AI is small, ML small, and the rest to be in the upper cases.
Got it.
Okay, all right. So, like if I say I want to find the index of is, in that terms, it says that it's in the third position, right? So, I did we had all those indexing and slicings in the first class? Did we saw the indexings and the slicings? Okay, let me see. Hmm, I think we did probably. Uh, no. Okay, fine. All right. So now coming up to the indexing first, because we have, I think, skipped that part. Because you all know about the bit of Python, so just going up with things. So indexing is like, let's say if you're having some string, right? Let's say only one string, and there you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These numbers over there, right? Uh, when I talk about indexing in, you can say this means that every particular character of a string, of a list, of a tuple, any data type, right? So every particular character has its own numbering, has its own position, right? So numbering, if we say, right? So what numbering it is having, right? So
Starting.
yeah, so it's starting from like zero. Okay. If we see from the left hand side, it is starting from the zero. But when we come from like counting up the things from the right hand
So
side,
then -1 will be used, right?
yeah, so -1 will be used from there. So let's say if I say x of 0, okay, this is x of 0. So there it would be 0,
1,
sorry, 1. And then if it is -1, then it would be 9,
9.
right? So that is particular indexing. That is every first element is always 0, right? The numbering is 0, right? The value is not 0. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, right? So what is the relation between the length and the indexing? If I say the length of this x, what is the length of this x? This is okay. This is So this is 9. Okay. So length of x is 9. But if I see the x last element, that is 9, right? Similarly, if I say that if it is 9 element, so the last element of x from the left hand side would be the eighth one, right? Because the relationship between the length and the indexing from the left hand side is always length of the data minus 1 will give you the value, right? That is because, see, what happens when you count up the things, that is 9 exactly, right? For the elements, that is 9. But when we start indexing, that indexing starts from 0, right? So there your one number became less, right? Because when you say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and when you say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, so 9 has been valued, right? That is the relation. Okay, that is 8 exactly. All right, cool. So this is indexing, and when you go for finding up the ranges and the indexing, that is properly called as slicing, right? So when you say if that's let's say 2 to 5, or in the intervals of 3, and then you get it something like this, right? Or this is a small part, let's say 2 to 8 in the interval of 3, and that is how you get some slicings over there in the indexings. Okay, fine. So similarly, in the string methods, if we say this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, and we want to count up in thing 34. So what you can see is if we count 34, we are getting 1. But let's say if I use this index here, so I am getting 2, right? So 34 is not in the second place. Only the 3 is in the second place. If you see other things very clearly, that is important. When you find an index of any word or anything inside a list or inside a tuple, inside a string, anything, right? And when you have multiple characters, when you use this index method, always you will be getting the index value of the first element every time. So this is 3 and this is 0, this is 1 and this is 2. So second position value. The second number is the 3 over there, right? If you see x of 2, you'll be getting 3. Okay, so like these are the common operations on this, what to say, string, right? Similarly, let's just say that So we did the upload successful file. Okay, that is nice. Let's say you want to log in google.com, right? And you are using yahoo.com Gmail. So what happens in that case, right? Let's say this is your email and you are taking some input, and let's say enter email. So once you write up your email, what I'll do, I'll split up your email with at the rate. Yes. Okay. So I'll be splitting up your email with at the rate, and then I'll be storing it somewhere else. Let's say this is my email, and what I'll do is I'll append this em of 0 here, right? So when I'll do this, if your email, if your -1 of em, right? So if the -1 of em is equals to gmail.com, then I'll append this. Okay, something is missing. Then I'm going to append this in the em of like email of 0. So the em of 0 will be appended to this email. Cool. And if it is not so, then we'll raise some errors, or we'll print something invalid Gmail ID. Let's say you are giving an input. Okay, so let it be SCMIT, even if I'm writing .co.in and I enter things. So it is an invalid Gmail. Okay, an invalid Gmail. And why this is so? Because if you see your EM, you will have as name first, and then you will have your uh, domain, that is gmail.co.in. And this gmail.co.in, if I say email of -1 is equals to gmail.com, so that is email of -1, that is gmail.co.in, and gmail.co.in is not equals to gmail.com, right? So it will not be done. Okay, but when I run this and I say this is let's say gmail.com, okay, and when I run this, this time nothing occurred, that is no errors occurred, right? Because we haven't done anything, like we don't want to print anything if it occurs successfully, right? So if you see your em, that is now your uh, name first of all, and then the domain. All right. So what company does, they don't store these things, right? Even if you just write over your username and press enter without writing at the rate of gmail.com, it will take it there, right? Because that is their domain. And even if you write your username, they will take it there. And now what is in the em, what is in the email? So we are having one user, that is Smith Kumar, right? Similarly, you can make a lot of things with this. Okay, so a string is very important in one of its kinds. Okay, coming up to list. Now list is very important as like what are you seeing till now? Like you're seeing the name, the domain, and this is all boxes kind of things, and something written inside there. So these are all particularly a list. Okay. So list is a collection, you can say an ordered collection of heterogeneous data types, right? Where you can duplicate the elements, you can store the elements, and you can even what to say, make, yeah, you can make duplicate elements over there, and you can store various data types respectively, and you can also perform some mathematical basic statistics things in the kind of a list. You can take it for ranging it, take it for loops and all right. So let's just try to understand it. So let's always start with the square bracket, and then it can have various data types. So let's say this is complex, this is this is complex, this is float. Let's say this, if it is boolean, hmm, uh, and any other data type. Even a list can hold one list inside there. So all these are basically a type of a list, right? That is a list inside a list. So if you say x of 0 or x of 1 or x of 2, like that, so we'll be getting something 1, 2, 2.3, and then like okay. If I say x of minus 1, then it is 1, 2, 3. If I say x of minus 1 of minus 1, then I mean to say like x of minus 1 is 1, 2, 3, and then inside this 1, 2, 3, what is the minus 1 value of this? So this is 1, right? Like that. Oh, sorry. This is 3. If it would have been 0, then you will be getting a this 1 over there, right? I forgot, sorry. It is minus 1, so minus 1 is the last element, okay? So minus 1 of minus 1 is 3. Alright, cool. So, like, you will be getting up. Now, if you say this is for minus 2, then you'll be getting the middle value, that is 2, right? And kind of this is all about indexing and slicing, specifically. Okay, moving up. Now, so, in a list, let's say if you have some numbers, we generally say that there is a list of numbers and you just go on for operating up these things and all, right? So let's say you're having a list of numbers, any random numbers over there. Okay, just any kind of random numbers I have taken. So what is the maximum value of this list? That is max value. Similarly, what is the minimum value of this x? What is the sum of total numbers inside this x? And even what is the length of this x? And lot more you can find it if you want to calculate over there. Right, we'll be learning very important library one called as simpy. Just 1 minute, let me show you. Right here, you can just find out the square roots, you can find out all the things. Square root of x. So there's some actually error because there are a lot of things over there, right? So you can even take square root of x of 0. That is 2, right? Because square root of 4 is 2. What about the square root of 1? So for the numbers, we are not having squares. Like for the numbers which are not a complete square, in that case, it makes a square under root over there, and then it represents there. But if it is a total, or you can say if it is a whole square, complete square, then it just print over the square of that element. Okay, cool. We'll learn this library, don't worry. Okay, for let's just complete up this Python. Okay, so these are list actually. So you can go for loops and finding up the things. Let's say this is, if I'm writing a small loop over there. So for I in let's say x, print, what's the problem? Let's say this is y. Yes, why not? Square. So if we see a y, we can see up there that is square root of 3, square root of 2, 2 into square root of 2, and something like this. So if we just print up a y, so these are the things basically, guys. Okay, so even if I just remove this statement and if I say that I just want to print y, right, or I, that is sqrt of I, so So in that case also you'll be getting the same results. That is only the difference is only like if you say an sqrt of like x, 1 minute, sqrt of x of 0, so that was 2, right? But if I apply a print over there and again run this, in that case you'll be getting it as 2, 1 minute, 3, so that will be 2 into square root of 2. Okay, so in such kinds you'll be getting up your answers right for mathematical and all. So we'll be doing these up things. Now list can be, let's say you have a list of companies coming and giving some interns, let it be IBM, let it be Microsoft, let it be HP, let it be HCL. All right. So if I say that you're having 1,000 or 100 of companies and you want to print it to show your, uh, if you want to print a limited thing to show to your boss or anything, right? So in that case, what you can do is you can find just CO and you can get it there, all the things, right? So now we are having 4. But if I say that I don't want to see Microsoft when I am printing my list, right? So that is some basic application of loops, right? That is if I say that I don't want to see Microsoft. So that is, I mean to say that I want to skip up Microsoft and I want to print everything as it is, right? In that case, you can use continue. Now, if you say that you don't want to see HCL, right? And if you are saying that as soon as your HCL is coming there, you or your Microsoft is coming, you just want to come out of the list, right? So you only want the first two elements or the mid two elements, anything, right? So you can apply loops for x in, yeah, for x in CO, and I think this clear to you guys, right? So print CO, so x in CO, do one thing, print x, and say if x is equals to Microsoft. Just break. A simple thing, right? So you can see Microsoft and IBM printed, and then your list break, right? HP and HCL will not come. But in case if you apply continue, so in that case it would be different, right? So you can see like your Microsoft haven't been printed over there, right? So first here I'm checking like if x is equals to Microsoft. So if x is equals to Microsoft, I'll just be skipping up this and I'll be continuing to the rest of things, right? Same you can apply with the whiles and all. Okay. Yeah. So that is it. Similarly, there is a tuple, right? So the only difference between a list and tuple is that lists are mutable. And when I say mutable, that is if I say x of 7. So, okay, there is nothing there. So x of 3, alright, let's take CO. So CO of 3 is HCl. Now, if I say that in the place of 3, I want it to be REP. Right. So what is this CO? Okay. So what is this CO? That is REP. If you see the third one, right? So that is mutable. That is once you made a list, you can even edit it. You can even replace anything. You can just do some bit of editings when you define these things. But when it comes in a tuple, so tuple is definition is also very same. That is a collection, ordered collection of heterogeneous elements, and can duplicate the values, can store the duplications values. But the only fact is that once you define up the things, you can't edit on there, right? You can't change it there. Let's say similarly, we just define 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is D. If I say D of 5, sorry, D of 3, so that is 4. And if I say D of 3 is equals to 5, that is not possible because tuple object does not support any item assignments. So in that case, it would be wrong. All right. So what you can do is you can make D in the list, and then you can change up the things, right? What you can do, you can make this D in the list, and then you can say that, let's say you want to replace it, and after replacing, you again go for tuple, make it a change, and then print up your D. So it will be changed. Okay. So that is all process when you go with the tuples. So in tuples, you can count up the things, you can find the index, you can count, you can use find and all. So let's say just using index and 3. Oops, that is 3. So in the second position, that is 3. That is all. Alright. You can even count up the things. Now coming up, next we have sets, and this is quite important because most of the things are now used as sets for storing of the values. Like you store usernames of Gmail or Instagram or anything, you store in the sets. If you are storing your passwords, you are storing in the list, or you make a dictionary of particular set with a particular password. Alright, I'll show you how it does. Alright. So sets are an collection of unordered data types. Okay, no indexing can be done here, and no duplicate elements can be written up here. Okay, let's say this is Y, and it starts with some curly braces. Let's say this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is a type of a set. If we just see the type of Y, so this is a set. Now, if I say that you can't make duplicate elements, so I mean to say that is, if I write Y, so I have written 1 for many times, right? I didn't count up. So I think I've written more than 10 times. We'll run this. See the length of Z. It's only 1. So what is the Z? Only 1. So duplications are not allowed. Only one unique number will be always there. That is important in the set, to be noted in the set. This is not in the case of your dictionaries and tuple, in the list and the tuples, or in the even strings. This is not a case up there, but here it is. Let's say you have a set A, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, and you have set B, which is 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So if you want to add a set to another set, what we do, we just write A dot add to B. And has type of set. Okay. Alright. So like if you want to add the B value to this, we can use this union basically. So it is also done with, if I write this union. So this can be done with this. Why this that is not working? Oh, okay, okay. So, let's say you want to add 4 to this A, right? So, you can use this 4 and you can write it there. All right. I was actually doing an addition of multiple elements. So, when you want to add some multiple elements, then you have to use a method called as update. So, I'm just using all those similar ones so that there should not be any effectiveness in the data. So every time you'll see these things have been added up, but you'll not able to see up the values because there is no duplications allowed. Okay. All right. So A and B is having 1, 2, 3, 4, and what is there? 3, 4, 5, 6. Right. So what is the common between these A and B? What is their common? So that is intersection. That is A and B. That is the intersection, right? And what is the difference in the A with respect to B? So this is the difference. That is 1 and 2 is different from this 3, 4, 5, 6. What is the difference in the B with respect to A? That is B minus A. And what is their common points? That is intersection. So what type of difference they are following? What is the symmetric difference if I say? So A dot symmetric difference of B, that is 1, 2, 5, 6. So what is the pattern they are following is like after moving your common element. So that is if we remove 3 and 4 because that was common. So it is 1, 2, 5 and 6. So C or A and B, it will be similarly like as it was. Okay. Now, if we say that if you write this as A dot difference update. Spelling error. Alright, so now your A would be only 1 and 2. In fact, of 1, 2, 3, 4, it will be only 1, 2. Why? Because whatever the difference will be there in the A with respect to B, only that value will be stored in this A, right? Got it? When I see the difference of A and B, that was 1 and 2, right? Because 3 and 4 is same. So if you use difference update, then what happens that only the difference what it is will be remain in the original set what you have written in the first, and the rest will be just deleted. So if you see your A and B now, you can see the difference, that is it will be 1, 2, the A will be only 1, 2, but the B will be as it is 3, 4, 5, 6. Now also if I write B dot difference update, now in this case there is no such difference between this A and B. R, right? So you will be not getting any change in B. Why? Because there is no such common things between B and A. So how to make up the difference up there, right? So similarly, there are a lot of things to be practiced of with this, and see you can get the modules of all for practicing in like just write the help of any function, right? Let it be an str, let it be a string, let it be a set, let it be a dictionary, everything. So to get the methods, what are there? So let's say it is add. So what add does, what clear does, what copy does. So you have a lot of things over there. You can just see up the things. All right, fine. Now coming up to the last data type of this Python, that is dictionaries. Okay, so that you could be able to solve every questions over there. Now, dictionaries are actually, if I gave you example, so that works like an Aadhaar card, right? So what happens in case of an Aadhaar card? Every Indian citizen has been given the Aadhaar card, right? From there we can get his name and the necessary information we need, right? So, what does an Aadhaar card contains? It contains some keys or it contains some of the labels like Aadhaar number, name, father name, date of birth, address. So these are keys, and whatever the values are there, that is, let it be the value of your Aadhaar number, let it be the name of yours, right? Let it be your address and all. So these are values. So that is how dictionary works. It works on the principle of a key value pair, right? So the indexing part is your keys, and what you get there while indexing is the values. Okay, how, let's say this is a dictionary, all right. Just make it this an heading. Okay, so dictionary is like a kb pair, you can say, on that is a key value pair. All right, so let's say this is the dictionary, and I'm making a dictionary of some marks, let's say mathematics, and this is 98 89. Physics 78, chemistry 88, 89, 88. So what you did, what is your D? You can see in some curly braces there are some strings, some values. So the string things, what you can see in the left side of your colon is your key. So if I index up the thing, so I'll not be indexing up this with d of 0 or d of 1 or d of 2. I'll be indexing up with its key name, right? D of mathematics, D of physics, D of chemistry, like this, right? So D of, what is the value of D of maths? That is 89. What is the value of D of physics? What is the value of D of physics? That is 78. What is the value of D of chemistry? That is 89. Like this you can make it up to your dictionaries. Okay, so like these are the first common methods you can use in your dictionaries and lists and sets. So some data types and some methods of dictionaries. Okay, so like if you want a key of a dictionary, you can use get key method, or so print the keys. A lot of things are there for the dictionaries. Okay, now if you have some list over there and you want to create a dictionary with that, let's say you have a, and that is 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, and you're having b, let's say this is a, b, c, d, e. And now you want this 1 2 3 4 5 to be your uh, values, and a b c d e to be your keys. You want in that respect. So let's say you are making a c as a dictionary, and now for, let's say, x in range of the length of, okay, this is length of a. So the range of length of a means, what is the length of a? That is 5. So for x in a range of 5, that is right. What you do is, let's say c of b of I, sorry, x is equals to a of x, right? And you're done. Okay. Let's say if I write it as C equals to a dictionary of, let's use zip for combining up the list, B and A. I think it's done. So if you apply the zip of B of A, that is combining this A and B in the dictionary format. So you can see A1, B2, C3. So if you see the keys of your dictionary, that would be A, B, C dot, D and E. And what are the values of your dictionary? That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if you apply a loop for I in C dot keys, print I. So you can see all your keys, that is A, B, C, D and E. Similarly, if I just copy up these things and just change up the values, just change up with the keys to values. There you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And when I say that we are going to use some items, in that case you'll be getting the keys as well as their values, right? That is A1, B2, C3, D4, E5. Okay, so that is how these keys are important. And when you talk about functions, there you can make your own functions for any calculator and kind of thing, right? That is, functions are basically a program within a program or a code within a code. Until and unless you call it, it does not count, right? That is, if you're using print, this is the function. If you're using this items, and whenever you are writing something, and after that, when you are writing anything, and after that you are using this parenthesis, that means that this is the function. Okay. So for defining any function, you use def. Let's say you want to welcome someone, and you're making some welcome function. So there are two kind of functions. One is for user-defined function, and one is of your inbuilt functions. So we are using inbuilt functions till now, right? And let's say this is what we are building a user-defined function, right? This is my defined function. So this is def welcome, and let's say users is input. Enter name. So whatever the name will be coming up, I'll be returning. What I'm going to return is hi user of 0. So also split it, right? So let's say welcome, run this, and it will automatically now ask you random name. Just alright, enter, and you can see hi John as kind, right? But if I say that I'm going to print it, not to return. So return will give you the values, right? But I want just a sentence kind of thing. So you could see as hi John. Alright. So these are the basic things, right? So with the help of function, you can make your calculator. You can make to see whether a number is a prime number or a, let's say odd number, composite, and all of the things. Okay, so that can be done with respect to all the basic things in the Python you're having, right? So everything is dependent on the basics. So I think you would have completed this up, right? So how many assignments solved, you guys? From 1 to 4, I think it would be done. You can go up with the ninth till the ninth, right? Because till the ninth that is dictionary, so you should complete it by tomorrow. And from tomorrow we are going to start this data science part. This is pandas.